Hey everybody, hope everyone is doing well. This is the DraftKings episode for the Travelers. It's just me. The other Mike Peters, doesn't really do DraftKings, so I'm just going to make this short and sweet and give you guys some picks. The previous video we posted last night was with the outright picks. So based on what the books were posting, our best bets for the week. We've been betting this for years, and now we're trying to make a podcast. So subscribe to our channel, The Mikes. Follow us on Twitter at The Mikes45. Just trying to get this out there, so any help will do. Okay, let's get into the pricing for DraftKings. This tournament starts tomorrow, so hopefully enough of you guys watch this before tee off. I think it's 6:45. Yeah, Eastern time. Okay, so starting with the 10K plus range, I'm gonna fade the top of the board. I'm not touching these guys, DJ, Bryson, Brooks, as I talked about last night. They basically had a chance on Sunday, especially Bryson and Brooks. DJ was only 4 back going into Sunday. I don't like elite players who just came off a stressful major, especially a U.S. Open with the course as hard as it was. Torrey Pines, big, prestigious course as well. So, of course, with the tournament like the Travelers, it's a big tournament, but it's tough for a guy like DJ or Bryson or Brooks. Although Bryson's a psycho, so maybe he'll get geared up for it. But Brooks and DJ, I definitely wouldn't touch them. And Bryson is playing well, but still, I think it's not worth it. They're all probably going to be pretty highly owned. They'll all be double digits most likely. So I definitely would take the risk and hope one of them don't win, because I would venture to guess that the winner comes from definitely deeper down the board. So those 3 guys I'm not going to touch, and I'll be starting a lot of my lineups with the 2 guys in about just above 10K. Reed is 10K flat, and Cantlay is 10-4. As you know, Mike, the other Mike, picked Patrick Reed as like his one and done pick, I guess you can say. He did bet 5 guys, but that's like his one guy. If he had a gun to his head, he'd take Reed, and I kind of agree with him. I like Reed this week. Reed was another guy. He really wasn't in it. Those are my favorite picks after majors. Guys that made the cut, so they're definitely playing well, but they weren't really in it. So it was almost like they were just kind of working on stuff on the weekend. And now they're geared up for a tournament that it's a pretty big non-major. I mean, the Travelers is always a pretty good field. This week's a pretty strong field. I feel like it's been stronger in years past, but even still, it's definitely still a strong field. So I think guys like Cantlay and Reed will definitely get geared up for it, especially since they were expecting so much more out of themselves last week at the U.S. Open, and they're both playing well, especially Cantlay. It doesn't look like I'm going to bet Cantlay, because right now my book is posting 14-1, and I know you can find 20s on places like DraftKings and whatnot, but where I bet, that's not even close, and even then I probably still wouldn't take that bet. It'd cost a lot of money to make a bet at, let's say, 20-1, 18-1, or God forbid you're looking at 14 like I am. So I'm not going to bet him, but I am going to use him in DraftKings a lot, as with Reed. So for the above 10K range, those 2 are definitely my picks. So now we move down into that 9K range, and I like a lot of guys here. Casey I like a lot. He's playing well, has a good history here. Scheffler I like this week. Wolf, I like more as an outright. Wolf scares the living shit out of me when it comes to betting, taking him in DraftKings, because he can come in dead last. And he's another one who hasn't played in a while, showed up, put a lot of preparation in for the U.S. Open, clearly, because he played really well. And this is a shorter course. Even though it's a little bit easier to hit fairways here, it's a shorter type of course. So that could pose some problems, because it looks like Wolf definitely plays better on those longer, harder tracks, as opposed to these shorter ones where he might be hitting a lot more wedges. It's going to be a birdie-making contest, so he better get a hot putter, and you know he's streaky with that. So if he's cold with the putter and he's not hitting his wedges good, it could spell some trouble. And then my pick to win, if I had one pick to make, is Finau. I love Finau this week. I'm not a big fan of Finau, but I find myself betting him a lot, because I know he's a really good player, and he's gonna win a tournament eventually. And this could be a one where the top dogs maybe have a little letdown. They're not totally locked in. They bring maybe their B game or even their C game. And Tony shows up. He's been playing good. He's definitely in the top 10 in my model. And I think at 9,200. That's a fair price. Like, I don't think Streelman and Wolf should be higher priced than Tony Finau. I know Streelman plays good here. I know Wolf just had a good U.S. Open, but I mean, Tony Finau is a good fucking player. I mean, he's legit, man. Like, 9,200 seems pretty cheap for him. And the same goes for the next two guys who I also really like, Answer and Neiman. I'm not going to bet Answer because, like, I know Answer really hasn't won either, but I feel more confident in Tony getting the first win than Answer, but I still think Answer will have a good showing here. I know he's really popular. As I just looked through Twitter and what other people are saying, I know Answer is definitely popular, but I don't like him to win, especially at like this 25-1 number. But DraftKings wise, he'll be popular, but yeah, I'd still roster him in a lot of spots. And Neiman I like a lot. Neiman hit the shit out of the ball last week, and I know he just can't make a putt for anything, but if Neiman's going to be in the fairway all day and he's just floating wedges and he's putting from 5 feet, I mean, just make a couple of them and you're in it. And, I mean, I like him more as an outright bet also, but he's another one kind of like Finau where their upside at this price feels too cheap. Like, I don't get the Wolf and the Streelman, and honestly, even the Scheffler, especially over Finau, but Streelman and Wolf over Neiman doesn't seem right to me. So yeah, I like Neiman in order, probably Finau, Neiman, Casey, and Scotty in this range. Throw Answer in there, probably third. Let me rephrase that. Finau, Neiman, Answer, Casey, and Scheffler. I also think you're going to get a decent ownership number with Casey and Scheffler, because I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards the Finau, Answer, Neiman range. So if you're looking for a reason to take a Casey or a Scheffler, you might get a little discount, because I don't think a lot of people like paying $10K for, Paul freaking Casey. So maybe you can take that into consideration. All right, the 8K range. Bubba played well at the U.S. Open. He plays well here. I'm not going to use a lot of Bubba because he'll obviously be popular, but I'm going to use some of him just in case he does win for the, I believe, 4th time. Harman, I mean, he's not really a sexy pick, but he's going to hit the fairway, hits good wedges. He's a hell of a putter. I mean, he'll probably play well at 8.8K. So, yeah, Harman's probably a safe pick. Cam Smith I like a lot this week because he's not a great driver, but the fairways are very, I don't want to say very easy, but they're easier to hit, and he's a great wedge player, great short game, great putter, and he hits his long irons good. So par threes, he should be able to succeed as well, and that's 4 holes at a golf course. So you got to play well in the par three. So I like Cam Smith. I like Cam Smith more to win. I bet him at 50-1 already. So, yeah, I would still take him in DraftKings 8,700. Hoffman's going to be insanely popular, but he's just playing too good. These guys that are popular, I'm not going to outright fade them. I'm going to put them in a couple of lineups. I'm just not going to put them in every lineup and hope that maybe they missed a cut and a couple of my lineups get knocked out. But the majority of my lineups will be in play if guys like Hoffman and Answer are missing the cut, because I may put 15 lineups out, and if I only have them in 2 or 3, I'm definitely underweight against the field, which, I mean, it's not a fade, but it's close enough to a fade, I guess. So Hoffman, Siwoo, no interest. I never have interest in him, especially in DraftKings. Justin Rose, fuck that guy. I'm not a fan of Rose. I think he's overrated. Henley, big letdown. He just gave it all at the U.S. Open. I'm not willing to back him here, although it seems like he'd be a good fit, but not after being up there at U.S. Open. English is playing well, but again, he had that Sunday. He's going to be popular now because people saw him coming third, and I don't know if I want to back Harris English popular at a field like this, especially off the good U.S. Open. Yeah, English I'm not going to be on. Leishman, no, just I'm not going to be on Leishman. I like Leishman, but I like him as a player, but not for this tournament. And Adam Scott, I mean, Scott's interesting. I'm a sucker for Adam Scott. I always am. But I don't know, man. With this course, I don't know. Let me see what the fuck Adam Scott's up to. I think we were looking at it last night on the show. He's 39th in my model. He's not getting off the tee, which is weird, but he's hitting his wedges really well. Inside of 125 to 150, he's second, and 100 to 125, he's 13th. He's 21st in putting on these greens, which is good for Scott, but he's 132nd off the tee, so he's not hitting the driver well. But at a course like this with more open fairways, you'd expect him maybe to free his swing up a little bit and potentially start hitting fairways. And if he's playing in the fairway all day and hitting gap wedges from 130 yards and pitching wedges, I mean, he should be fine. I mean, he's probably going to come in really low owned because nobody wants to own Adam Scott this week. So Scott could be a pretty good pivot play if you're looking to find some guys, like to avoid Hoffman maybe, or to avoid an English or Henley or whoever might be popular. Scott might not be a bad move. So for the 8K range, Scott, Smith, and probably Harmon are probably my three guys for the 8K range. I don't think Harmon will be too popular, 8,800. I think people will go to Bubba, and Hoffman, $200 cheaper, I think is definitely in play. And people like Justin Rose because of his name value. So regular public Joes will probably gravitate towards him because when they see him sandwiched in between Siwoo and Henley, they go, that doesn't seem right. Although at this point, those two guys are probably better than Rose. All right, let's go to the 7s. Keegan Bradley. I like Keegan. Hits his drivers, hits his wedges well. Can't make a goddamn putt, but if he's putting from 10 feet all day, hopefully he can get hot. I think it's worth it. But he'll be pretty popular, so I wouldn't use too much of him. I would rather go with Homa. I know he plays harder course as well, but there is a but with Max Homa. One, I love the kid. He's just really good. He's also a top 10 in my model. He's good at putting on these type of greens, and he's good inside of 125 yards. He's driving the ball well. His approach game's in the top 25 in this field. He's just playing good golf right now. And I don't know, I think he can play really well at this course. So Max Homa, I like him. Phil, I'm not a fan of DraftKings like more as an outright, as you know. Mike took him as an outright. I believe he was 90-1. All right, Sam Burns, I talked a lot about last night. He's first in my model, so that says something, at least for me. You guys might not give a shit about my model. But I think that Burns can play well here also. One thing I like is he putts well on his greens, and you combine that with how he's hitting the ball, driver, wedge, all that stuff. I think his talent can really take over here. I know he was playing good in California, came to Florida. It kind of sucked. Arnold Palmer, a bunch of courses there where he really wasn't making the cut. Now he's back on the East Coast, but Long Island golf, or not Long Island, Connecticut golf is different than Florida golf. So I mean, he could be a little bit of a steal. I don't think he'll be too popular this week. So Burns, I definitely like, and same with Cameron Tringale. He just strikes the golf ball well. And at this course, these forgiving fairways, like I said, hitting wedges in, he should be able to make a bunch of birdies this week too. So those two at 77 and 76, I definitely like a lot this week. Scrolling down a little bit further, what do we got here? What did I write down? Oh, yeah. Grillo and Chris Kirk. Chris Kirk, I guess the sexiness of his name has kind of fallen off because in the beginning of the year he was cashing top 20s for me at will. So Kirk is still playing good though, so I don't know why he's fallen off. He hasn't been finishing as high, but he's still playing really well right now. What the fuck is this? This is not what I'm looking for. 1 second. Here we go. When you look at Fantasy National, Kirk's still 21st. He's not great from inside of 125, but 125 to 150, he's been really good. He's driving the ball well. He plays those par fours from 400 to 450 really well. There's 8 of those on this course. Don't forget that. And he putts decent. He's 45th in the field, putting, strokes gained putting, and you combine it with these greens. I mean, he's looking pretty good. So Chris Kirk, 7,300. I don't think he'll be too popular. Grillo is never really that popular, I feel. I'm not really sure, but I know I never play Emiliano Grillo. But that's myself. That's pretty anecdotal, so I guess disregard that. But still, he's playing good. He's striking the ball. Can't make a putt to save his life. He'll flip the hole off. He loves doing that. But, yeah, Grillo and Kirk at 7,300. I like both. I'd probably lean Kirk over Grillo, but, yeah, both of them should play well this week. Scrolling down a little more, a lot of people are going to move to Brandon Steele and Guido. I'm going to bet Guido to win, but I'm not going to play him in DraftKings, and that goes with Steele too, although I'm not betting Steele either. He's playing horrible. He's towards the bottom of the field out of the 152 in my Fantasy National thingamajig, whatever the hell it is, model. He's not playing good, and maybe it's biased for me because I took him last week. DraftKings, I bet him at 200-1 first round leader, and he really shit the bed. But no, I'm not going to be betting Brandon Steele. I'm not going to be using him in DraftKings, and hopefully he misses the cut. I know he has good course history here, but I'm willing to fade him at most likely double-digit ownership. Cheston Hadley, no way. He actually got me a win with Higo. I'm assuming a few other people too that bet on golf, but Higo kind of stole that one, so that was a nice win before I got my shirt wet at the U.S. Open. So I guess I can thank Hadley for bogeying the last 3 holes, but I will not be playing him in DraftKings. Stuart Sink is the other one at 7,300 that I like a lot. Again, he hits his driver well. He hits his wedges really well. Stewie Sink has just been playing well all year, man. He really has been. He's been stepping it up. I mean, he's 12th in my model. I mean, he's top 35 from 125 to 150, top 70, so top half of the field, 100 to 125. Third in opportunities gained. He plays the 400 to 450 par fours in the top 10. Second in strokes gained approach. He actually is struggling off the tee, but these guys that are struggling off the tee, I'm not too concerned with. Sink has had rounds where he's driven the ball really good for those long weekends, like when he won at the hell was it, Heritage, where he blew the field away. He was hitting every fairway. So at a course like this, where it's going to be more generous to hit the fairway, and if he really wants to, he could club down because the holes are not that long. I mean, this 420-yard hole, hit a 3-wood 260. All right, he's hitting an 8-iron. I mean, the way he's hitting the ball right now, he's second in strokes gained approach, and it really isn't much of an issue for him. But if he wants to hit the driver, I mean, he's going to have room to miss, and he's going to have room to hit the fairway. They're going to be bigger for him, more forgiving. I think it's 70% of the fairways are hitting. The tour average is like 62. So they're more forgiving, easier to hit. So a guy that's 106 in the field off the tee, kind of like Adam Scott, he really should be able to hit his driver well this week. So I'm willing to back Sink at 7,300. And then a couple more guys I like, Munoz and Gooch. Munoz has started to play really well these last few weeks. He had a pretty good U.S. Open. He's number 1 in the field from 100 to 125 yards. His approach game is in the top 60. Off the tee's decent. He struggles on those 400-yard plus par fours, but I mean, that may be a little bit of a black spot, but that also takes in the last 24 rounds. And I'd say he started to play good these last couple tournaments, so there's some bad rounds mixed in there. I'd say recently he's definitely been playing better. I've seen his name pop up on some leaderboards. He was up there for a little bit at the U.S. Open. When I say up there, I don't mean like near the top, but he was in the top 20 for a long time. He approached the top 10. He played decent, so I'd be willing to use him at 7,100. And Gooch, too. I think Gooch just fits the course well in my mind, so Gooch is someone that probably won't be too highly owned. He's 6th in approach. He's great. He's not great. He's good at those key ranges where you're hitting a wedge. He's not great off the tee. Again, I'm not concerned about guys who are struggling off the tee because I think it's going to be easier for them, especially someone who usually drives the ball pretty well. So someone that's 111th in the field off the tee like Gooch, I'm not too concerned, especially at 7K. I think there's a good chance he makes the cut and probably finishes pretty well for his price. All right, last range, 6K. I got 4 guys. Joseph Bramlin, I don't know jack shit about him, but I can tell you that he's 14th or 19th in his model. Hits the shit out of his driver. He's top 15, 400 to 450. He's really good inside of 125, so I would take the shot on him at 6,800. Lewis, 6.4K. I don't know why he's that low. I feel like Tom Lewis is a pretty good player. I know he plays decent on the European Tour. He's ranked way up there. For me, he's 24th. I mean, he's struggling with strokes gained putting. He's 105th. I mean, whenever I bet him, he's good to miss a 4-footer every now and then. So I definitely believe that. But he's playing pretty well across the board. And at a course like this, if he gets a lot of birdie looks, he should make a few. So Lewis, I'd be willing to back at that cheap price. Satoshi Kodaira is another one I like. I always see him up there every now and then, but he's good with his wedges. He's top 20 from 125 to 150, and he's top 10 from 100 to 125. And if he's hitting a lot of shots from there, I mean, he should be putting the ball on the green and pretty close. And top 50 strokes gained putting, top 35 for strokes gained approach. He's playing good. He's only $6,500. So if you do want to take someone like Bryson, these guys in the 6K range, or if you want to do something like Cantlay Reed and then a high 8s guy, and you need a couple of these 6K guys, I think Kodaira is a good option. He shouldn't be too highly owned. And then Cameron Percy is my last sort of guy I would take a look at. Can't putt. But he hits his wedges well. He gets off the tee, and his approach game is really good. So if he could hit these generous fairways and just stick a bunch of balls pretty close, he could have a shot to play pretty good. He might be someone I take a first-round leader. I'm going to put up a betting card on our Twitter when it's finalized, which I'll probably do tonight at some point, obviously before tomorrow morning. I got to get up pretty early, start at a job, so kind of short on time, so I'll make sure I get it done tonight, at least before the Islanders start, because I definitely want to see that game. Hopefully they get the job done tonight. All right, that's it for this episode. I'll be back with Mike next week for the next tournament. I got to check the schedule. I'm not sure exactly what's up next, but let's hope for some good luck this week. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you all next week. Have a good one.